The only thing that I could take from you is your husband. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Rafael and I'm here to review episode 4 of The Real Housewives accusing other housewives of sucking their husband's dick of Dubai. We start the episode off with Caroline Strawberry and her husband Sergio looking around at the house that they're gonna have built in this place called Al Burari. Caroline lets us know that this is the place to live when you have real money, real wealth, that TV stars live here, the Prince of Dubai lives here, which apparently Dubai has a prince. I never knew that, so that's news to me. And judging just from the construction site alone, this house is going to be massive. I mean, I'm looking around and I'm like, wow, this is so much space. Obviously, Caroline is not joking around when she says that Al Burari is the place to be when you have money. I wonder if this is going to be the next Chateau by Caroline. So then her and Sergio, they're looking around, and then this contractor lady, she comes over with the map of the house, the layout, right? She's telling both of them how it's going to be once it's all done. And she's like, okay, so this is going to be the master bedroom, the guest bedroom, and then this is going to be the baby room. Oh, wait. No, not the baby room. And it was very awkward because obviously she didn't really know where they stood with the whole baby situation. So Sergio, he jumps in the conversation right away and he's just like, yeah, the baby room. Yeah. But continue with the conversation. Caroline, she stops him in his tracks and she's like, no. That's going to be the guest bedroom. The contract lady, she's like, I don't really care if this is going to be a baby bedroom or a guest bedroom. I'm still getting paid regardless. So give me my check. So then she walks away, and then this is where the awkward conversation starts between Sergio and Caroline, because Sergio, he just goes on and he's like, Caroline, we are gonna have a baby, right? Because my parents, they're not getting any younger. They're not vampires, and they want a grandkid. And I'm like, okay, Sergio, that's cute and all, that's nice and all, but you married Caroline, not your parents. Why are you, underneath their expectations? And I get it that he's young, and he's like, what, 26, 27, 28, and yeah, you want a child, you want to get married, you want this, you want everything that you want in a marriage, right? Anything typical in a marriage. Caroline, she's 45. She's been there, done that. And Sergio, you knew that when you got into this relationship. So don't act like she's like, 21 or 22 and she's also wanting the same things as you. That's not fair. Caroline is telling him, I'm not really sure if I want to have another child. Sergio, he's not taking no as an answer. He's like, yeah, well, that's nice and all, but we're going to have to keep trying for a baby, right? Like Baby Corella, I think his name that he wants to name the baby is Baby Corella. He's like, Baby Corella needs to be here. Like, Baby Corella, I want a Baby Corella. Like, I want a Baby Corella. And I'm like, okay, Sergio, stop. Like, you're forcing her to have a child. Obviously, she's 45. There's so much more to that than just like, okay, fine, we'll have a baby by tomorrow. Get me pregnant. There's so much more than that. Caroline, she even explains that, like, maybe health-wise or her body condition. It's just she doesn't want to go through that. And maybe they could do surrogate. And then what does he say? I don't want to do a surrogate because I want the baby to look like us. I want the baby to look like me. Now, I don't have children or anything, and I'm not sure how pregnancy goes, but I'm pretty sure that that's not the way it goes. But okay, Sergio, I don't know. Even Caroline was just like, the baby will look like us. Like, what are you talking about? Sergio, he's not having it. He's like, I want to get us pregnant. I want you to get pregnant by tomorrow. Like, I need Baby Corella to be here. And I wonder, I don't want to say that he wants to get her pregnant to be like, the meal ticket. Like, oh, I finally got her. I got a baby out of her. So now she has to pay me for life. Because he also has money, right? Like, he comes from a background of money. He used to be a soccer player, apparently, from what I read, but I'm not sure, like, why is he so pressed? If you wanted that, you should have got with somebody younger. And not to be shady, because Caroline, it doesn't matter if she's 45 or whatever, but you should have known, Sergio, if you wanted to be with somebody and you wanted to have a child, you should have had this whole conversation before you even got married. How are they having this conversation after they got married? And now it's just like, oh wait, are we getting pregnant? No, that's supposed to be done before you even say I do. So both of you screwed up with that part. So I could see this whole relationship ending in two ways. Either one, him cheating and getting somebody younger pregnant, or two, he's gonna leave her. And it's so sad because in her confessional, Caroline was just like, well, if I don't get a baby by him or get pregnant by him, he's gonna leave me. And that's a fact. And that's pretty sad. So Caroline, honestly, if he does leave you, he'll be doing you a favor. And also, did anybody notice the Caribbean music playing in the background as they transition from scene to scene to scene throughout the entire episode? I'm looking at the scene with Sergio and Caroline and I'm like, oh, I feel so sorry for her. And then 2 seconds later, I don't know if I should shake my ass or continue feeling sorry for her because they start playing the music. We head over to Caroline Brooks and she's meeting up with her realtor, Melroy, who is showing her 2 different locations for the spas that she wants to open up here in Dubai. And then she further explains that people don't put in consideration people of color and how they have different hair textures and not everybody could use the same laser treatment for their hair or their skin. And she wants to be the one to open up those doors here in Dubai. And there's a big market for it. So honestly, I never really thought of it like that. So good business move, Brooks. And obviously she's doing something good for people of color here in Dubai. And then she's looking around at the first location and I'm looking around and I'm like, what in the Saw movie set? I was just waiting for Billy the puppet to show up on his little tricycle like, do you want to play a game? And then at the bottom of the screen, it says $17,000 a month. I'm like, what? Oh my goodness, $17,000. Hold on, wait a minute. Do y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? My credit score just went down. I'm looking at that like $17,000. Wow. Caroline Brooks, your name is not going to be Caroline Brooks anymore. It's going to be Caroline Banks. They head over to the second location, which is right underneath the Burj Khalifa. So Caroline, she's looking up and she's like, wait a minute. I think I hear my friend Nina from here. Yeah, she's demanding french fries. Yep, that's her. Wow, it's so nice from down here. So they go inside the location. This one is a little bit more spacious, but it's $25,000 a month. And I'm like, what? But I mean, honestly, does it really matter? Because at the end of the day, the spa is just going to make that money up. So what is $25,000 at the end of the day? So Caroline Brooks, she goes on to say, I really wanted to keep it within the budget, but I went over by $2 million, but it's okay. And I'm like, wow, she's just throwing that out there like it's $5. But I'm like, you know what? If you have it, why not? I'm here for it. Now, what I was not here for was the producer in the confessional being shady to Caroline. She was like, Caroline, so what is going to happen if your business fails? And I'm like, why would you even ask that? Why would you even put that type of energy out there in the atmosphere? If I was Caroline Brooks, I would have cursed her out like, bitch, are you preying on my downfall? But no, she answered and she was like, no, after my divorce with my husband, I became a realtor and that's how I became a millionaire, a self-made millionaire. So no, I can't fail. I don't know anything about failure. I only know about succeeding. And I'm here for that. But the producer, I'm watching you closely. We see Nina showing up to her husband's job to make sure that he's not cheating on her. So they're sitting down talking about this big party that they're going to throw for their family friend, Beijing, who is very close to her husband, Munaf. And she goes on to say that these parties are typically worth 6 figures. And I'm like, wow, can I get an invitation, Nina? I mean, between her and Caroline Brooks so far, I'm going to have to get a second job by the end of this episode. My credit score just keeps declining. Nina goes on to say, oh yeah, I invited all of the women to the party. They're all going, blah, blah, blah. But then this is where it gets interesting because he starts telling her, for your 11th anniversary, I was thinking of giving you a car. And something about this whole scene with Munaf specifically, he was just flexing his money. He goes on to say, yeah, I was going to get you a Rolls Royce. Do you want the Phantom? Do you want the Ghost? Which one do you want? I'm like, okay, we get it. You got money. You don't have to name drop the cars or whatever. I don't even know what that is, but okay. He goes on to say, so what are you going to do about the license plates? And I'm like, the license plates? What do you mean? She goes on to explain that the less letters you have on a license plate, the more prestige it is and the more expensive it is to buy one. And I'm like, what does that mean? Come to find out, let's say that if you get 2 letters, right, like DX or something or XD, it's $33 million for 2 letters on a license plate. I'm like, what? 33 million? Like, that is insane. Just for a license plate, just to show some type of class or prestige to people? Like, absolutely not. So wait, if that's the case, so if the less letters you have, the more expensive. So what does it mean if it's the opposite? The more letters, is it less expensive? Because if that's the case, my license plate in Dubai will be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. If I'm going to get a huge discount, you could put all the letters. You could put a couple of numbers, but that is crazy to me. I mean, I found that so interesting. $33 million for a license plate with 2 letters just to show that you have money. I mean, is it really worth it? Is it really that serious? I mean, I just can't wrap my head around it. But I do wonder, though, if the DMVs in Dubai, if their employees also have attitudes like the ones here in the United States. Then we see Lisa in the office working on her line, Nina Rowe. She's sitting at the desk with her laptop while her 3 sons are playing around in the play section that she had built for them to keep an eye on them, which I thought it was a cute idea, but at the same time, yes, it's a good thing because you'll always have an eye on them. You'll know that they're safe right next to you. But at the same time, it's also a bad thing because it's 3 of them. And let's say that Lisa's working on a million things at her desk, right? They're probably like, Mommy, come play with us. Can you get us this? Can you get us that? Can you cook us this? We're hungry. We want this. Look what so-and-so did to me. Like, look what he's doing. It could be a lot. But then again, she has has a nanny, so she has help. She's asking them, where's daddy at? Where's daddy? He's supposed to be here. He's late. Where is he? They're like, oh, he's probably busy right now, mom. He's a busy man. She goes on to ask, to tell them, so you don't think that mommy's busy at all? They're like, no, mom, you're not busy at all. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm working on my line Nina Rowe. You don't think that this is important? They're like, no, we don't think that that's important. And I'm like, wow, look at them already being misogynist at their young age. You're grounded. Go to your room. So then Rich, he walks in and hey Rich, how are you? He walks in and okay, let me relax. She goes on to say that he's the CFO of her business, and I'm like, the CF what? I had to keep rewinding it a couple of times because I'm like, what is a CFO? I've never heard of that term. I had to Google it because at first I thought she was saying the UFO, like the aliens. So she goes on to say that he has a pretty impressive resume. He has a bunch of businesses, and that's why Nina Rowe has been able to get 8 figures. And shout out to the person in my last review who commented and said that Beyonce actually shot from Nina Rowe when she was pregnant. I'm like, oh wow, that is a really, really, really big move for Lisa. That's very impressive. And honestly, after Beyonce brought something, I'm buying like 3 shirts too. I don't need them, but I'm gonna be on the same level as Beyonce. So then Rich, he's trying to have a conversation with Lisa, but his phone keeps buzzing. She goes on to say, okay, we need to have a meeting about something. So she pulls him to the side. They're sitting on the side, and she's trying to talk to him about some things that she needs his permission to be signed off on. But his phone continues buzzing off. And I'm like, Rich, I don't know. I mean, I know you have a couple of businesses, but it's getting suspicious now. Like, is it another bitch? Lisa's like, you know what? It's fine. It's whatever. I don't even need your permission. I'm going to sign away on the documents myself. So she walks away, and you know she's just fake mad so they could have makeup sex later on. So she's at the desk trying to sign off on the papers. He comes in. He's hovering over her, putting his fist on the table. And I'm like, ooh, Rich. And he's like, no, you will not do anything. I'm the CFO of the company. You can't sign off on anything without my permission. And I'm like, okay, whatever you want. I was just joking, but okay. Wait, do that thing again with your fist? Yeah. I would have told Rich, you know what? Fuck Nina Rowe. I'm trying to be your Nina Ho tonight. But you know, their connection is cute because he goes on to say, no, I believe in you. I believe in you, so you could do whatever you want because I believe in you and in this company. And she's like, oh, really? They're so cute together. We see Ayan and her husband Chris walking around town on a date night, and this entire scene reminded me of when I used to walk around Jersey City back in New Jersey. There was a long walkway along the river, and right across from it was the skyline of New York City. So at nighttime, it would look so pretty. It would look so breathtaking. All the buildings were lit up. It looked really nice. So when I was looking at this scene, I'm like, wait a minute, is Ayan and Chris in New Jersey? So then the whole scene was cute, right? Until the second Ayan started talking, it made a complete left. She goes on to say, yeah, I love my husband Chris, but before him, I was supposed to marry my cousin. She further goes on to say, yeah, I was supposed to marry him, but he was hot, so I was okay with it. She goes on to say that it was because of her culture that she had to marry her own cousin. It wasn't her choice. She was given off to him. And I'm pretty sure that that is still a tradition that is still around to this very day in many cultures and many countries. I'm pretty sure that here in America, it's legal to marry your own cousin in a couple of states. So we're not that far off. So she continues on by saying that Chris, he paid $1,000 to be with her back then. And nowadays she'll be worth $20,000 in Africa. And I'm pretty sure that that is still a sad tradition that is still around to this day, that you could buy somebody off against their own will and marry them against their own will if the price is right, which is sad and unfortunate. So she goes on to say that her mom, she disapproved of the entire relationship between her and Chris. One, because he's white, and two, because it wasn't her cousin and it was against tradition. But over time, she became, softer to him, and now she loves him a lot. And I wonder what exactly it took for that relationship to grow, because again, it's not something that you go into it like, oh, okay, this is like a regular tradition or a regular relationship. And I wonder what it took for them to get from point A to point Z. And I wonder if we're going to see the mom eventually on this show. Chris, he goes on to say, yeah, remember when you wouldn't kiss me at all? Like, why wouldn't you kiss me? Ayan also reveals that her mom, she will also scare her. And I'm pretty sure that this is also part of her culture, like the extreme scare tactic or whatever. And she goes on to say that, yeah, my mom will always tell me that if I kiss boys or if I kiss anybody, that I will catch AIDS. And I'm like, wow, again, I'm pretty sure that that is a cultural thing. Like, scare your children to the very extreme so that way they won't do anything that they're not supposed to or anything that you don't want. And I appreciate that Ayan is being dishonest and this raw about her life and just putting it all out there on the line, because anybody else in her shoes, they'll probably think like, no, maybe I shouldn't share this story about my life. Maybe I shouldn't say this about my husband. Maybe I shouldn't say this about my mom. No, Ayan, this is her life and this is her truth and she lived this. So why shouldn't we know this? And like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure that this still goes on in many cultures in many countries around the world, and this story needs to be heard. So I appreciate Ayan for her honesty. Then we get a luncheon between Caroline Strawberry and Sarah. They order drinks, or at least Caroline does, because Sarah goes on to say that she does not drink alcohol. Why? Nothing serious, but one time she was drinking something and she didn't realize that it had alcohol in it, and it gave her body a really bad reaction. It caused her to get diarrhea, so she's not drinking anymore. Caroline, she starts talking about her relationship with Sergio and how he wants to have another baby and how she froze her eggs. And then we get a little bit more insight on Dubai and their laws and how you couldn't mix your sperm and your eggs if you were not married in that type of way, even if you were living together. But now that they're being progressive, they're trying to change that, so now you can do that. And it kills me when Caroline is like, yeah, here in Dubai, we're so progressive. Dubai is being so progressive and you could live here freely. You could live here like any other place in the world. And I'm like, yeah, if you're not part of the LGBT community, then it's a whole different aspect, Caroline. Sarah tells Caroline that her and Sergio's marriage really gives her a lot of hope on finding love one day, because men look at her and they're like, she has a child. Absolutely not. She has too much baggage. And if I was you, Sarah, I would not put too much hope in Caroline and Sergio's marriage or put them as relationship goals, because look what they're going through now. I'm pretty sure that after maybe 2 seasons, they're probably going to be divorced. So if I was you, I would go find hope somewhere else. She tells Caroline, so Caroline, where were you when Lisa's fashion show was going on? Where were you? Why were you not there? Caroline is just like, joggers. And then they flash back to when her and Sergio were in the kitchen popping the champagne while the fashion show was going on. And then she lied to her and she's like, well, I mean, I was just busy doing something with the wedding. You know, I'm just so overwhelmed and I just don't want to put myself in toxic situations with toxic people. I'm just not doing that. As Meredith from Salt Lake City said, I'm disengaging. I'm sorry, but I'm disengaging. I am not going to be around other people who are toxic. I'm not going to be around Jennifer Shaw, so I'm not doing that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's all cute, Caroline Strawberry, but this is the Housewives. Like I told you last week, you have to be around toxic people or toxic environments if you want to keep your gold coins for next season. Like, Caroline, what are you doing? We finally get to Beijing's 6-figure birthday party, and we find out why it's so expensive, because Nina, she lets us know that she flew in people from Los Angeles to come perform, and the oxygen that they're breathing is made of diamonds, the food that they're eating is made of gold, and everyone's taking away $20,000 in cash in their goodie bags. And there's also a floating piano. And I'm like, a floating piano? Nina, you do know that is a liability, right? But then again, if I was invited to this party, I'll be standing right underneath it just waiting for it to fall on me. Like, I'm willing to take a piano to the head if it means winning a lawsuit against Nina and all that money. But then everybody shows up. Everybody's looking really, really glamorous. Everybody's looking beautiful. I think it was supposed to be like a masquerade party, but nobody was wearing a masquerade mask besides Lisa and Caroline Strawberry. And speaking of Strawberry, she finally shows up. And I'm like, you see, Caroline, was it that hard to show up to a toxic environment? No, right? Now do it again next week. So then she's showing up, Ayan, in her confessional. She's like, you know, I'm so excited to be at this party. I want to have a good time. And then here comes the bitch. I'm like, now why does Caroline Strawberry have to be all of that, Ayan? Caroline Strawberry is sitting across the table, and next to her is Nina, Sarah, and Caroline Brooks. So across from Strawberry is Lisa. Next to Lisa is Ayan. And next to Ayan is Sergio. And I'm like, Sergio, why are you here at the table with the women? Don't you want to go make friends with the husbands or talk about license plates or something with Nina's husband? Like, why are you here? You need to get out of women's business because you're acting like Samantha right now. You're acting like a damn bitch. You're always up Caroline Strawberry's ass. Like, you're always hovering around her. Like, go away for like 5 seconds. And then him and Ayan, they start talking back and forth. And I feel like they were flirting with each other because they were both calling each other beautiful. And I don't know. I felt some tension there between them. I don't know. There was something there. Is it just me? There was some type of spark. And obviously Caroline Strawberry didn't like that. And I wonder if Ayan was just doing that on purpose, or she was just putting it a little bit on him just to piss her off or just to get underneath her skin. And obviously it worked. Lisa, she starts talking to Strawberry and she's like, look, I don't get why you weren't at my fashion show. Whatever you have going on with Ayan, that's you and Ayan's issue. I could always call her out if she's doing something wrong or when you're doing something wrong. I don't get why I have to be in the middle of it. She's all shocked about it. She's like, I don't get why Lisa's coming at me like this. I don't get why, she's taking her side or whatever when I didn't do anything. And I'm like, she's not taking her side necessarily. She's just saying like, you could come to her event and put your differences aside or just ignore Ayan completely. You don't have to cut her off all the way just because Ayan is also going to be at the event. So if that's the case, if Sarah has an event and Ayan is also going there, in your case, Strawberry, are you not going to show up to the event? Or is it just because it's Lisa? I'm not understanding. Then Lisa tells Ayan that she lost her phone and Ayan volunteers to go look for it. And for a second, I thought that Sergio was going to go with her because she's like, well, is anybody going to come with me? For a second, I'm like, Sergio, do not get up and volunteer because that is the end of your marriage. But he sat there, Ayan walked away. The second that she walked away, Strawberry started talking shit about her husband, Sergio. She's like, I don't get it. Like, look at him. He's acting like a girl. He's acting like a girl. Like, look at you. Like, it's pathetic. Sergio's like, what? What happened? What did I do? Like, what? I don't get it. Like, what's the problem? She's pissed, obviously, because he's talking to her enemy and he's kind of flirting with her, too. And then on top of that, he starts flirting with Lisa. I'm like, damn, no shame whatsoever. I mean, I get it. Like, she shouldn't be that jealous. But at the same time, I don't know. Sergio was kind of crossing boundaries. But then again, that's just me. So then Lisa's like, what are you talking about? Like, he didn't do anything. Like, what are you talking about? So then they start holding hands. And I'm like, uh-oh. Lisa, what's going on? You already have a beautiful man. Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to get a 2-for-1 special? Like, what's going on? And then Caroline Strawberry, she's like, oh, because Michael Darby, he shows up out of nowhere. I'm like, why does he keep popping up out of nowhere? This man named Michael. I'm like, who invited you here? He just came out of nowhere like, I'm here. So then he comes over to the table and then Caroline Strawberry, she tells him, oh, look at Sergio. He became one of them. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by them, Caroline Strawberry? Like, what are you trying to say by that? And then everybody was shocked about it. Caroline Brooks, she was edited as if she heard the comment, but on Twitter, she said that she never heard the comment. She was talking to Nina that the music was so loud and that they edited that all wrong because she never heard her say that comment, or else she would have said something. So then Lisa's like, what do you mean by them? What do you mean by them? Like, why are you calling us them? Like, what do you mean? Like, them as in like them fabulous people? Like, what are you talking about? And I wish that Lisa would have pressed her on just a little bit more because I feel like Lisa is just way too nice in person, but in her confessional, she could talk a lot of shit. But in person, she's just like, oh, okay, no, it's fine. Okay, I thought we had an issue, but I'm glad that everything is fine. I'm like, keep the same energy, Lisa, in person. So Caroline Strawberry, I also want to know about that comment. Like, what do you mean by them? Caroline Strawberry directs her anger from Ayan to Lisa because she sees that she's holding her husband's hand. So she tells Sergio, I hope that she's willing to suck your dick tonight. And I'm like, Caroline Strawberry, no, you didn't. And Lisa, what does she do? She's like, I won't. I won't. Everybody else at the table is shocked, but this is her reaction. She's like, I won't. I won't do that. I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, that's it. But then in her confessional, she's like, I'm not going to suck his dick because if I did, he wouldn't come back home to you. And I'm like, that's what I wanted to hear in person, Lisa, but you said it in your confessional. I'm like, wow, Strawberry, wow, wow, wow. You know, I was shocked. Everybody was shocked. I was like, this is what you're going to say about your own husband? You see, this is why they shouldn't be together. Like, she threw out the accusation so easily. I'm like, wow. And Lisa, she was just so calm about it. I'm like, she just said that you were going to suck, you know, his somebody else's pee-pee. Like, and you're married too. I wonder what Rich had to say about this whole comment that she threw out. Caroline Strawberry has had enough, so she storms off. She's walking away. Sergio, he follows right behind her as if he's looking for his allowance. Ayan, she comes back to the table once the producers told her, go, go, go. So she comes back. Lisa's informing her of everything that just went down. She's telling her, I don't get why Strawberry, she just referred to me and you as them. She labeled us as them again. Like, she's trying to group us together when I just told her not to do that. She just told you a second ago, Strawberry, to not do that. And here you are doing it again. And I'm not even sure if there was a deeper meaning behind that, but, you know, it seems suspicious coming from you. So then Ayan is like, what? I can't believe this. What? So then Strawberry, she comes back to the table. Well, before that, though, Lisa, she's just talking all this shit about Strawberry, like saying like, oh, I could buy your life, bitch. I could buy your life. And I'm like, well, I mean, this entire group could buy each other's life a couple of times, actually. But again, Lisa, you say all of this when she's not there face to face, but when she comes back, you're like, oh, hey, Strawberry. Like, you're so nice about it. But again, you never have that same energy when you're face to face with her. So that eventually she comes back and they want to address the whole them comment. They're like, wait, so why did you refer to us as them? And then Strawberry, she goes on to lie and she's like, I never say them. What are you talking about? I never said that. And I'm like, that's not what you just said 30 seconds ago. And they even replay the footage of her saying it word for word, like, oh, he has become one of them. So Strawberry, again, you're lying, and that's why your comment has came out very suspicious because now you're double backing on it, and now you're trying to lie yourself out of the whole situation when clearly you said it on tape. So, So then eventually, Lisa, she's just over the whole situation. Strawberry, again, she storms off for the second time. I'm like, what is going on? Like, you're doing the hokey pokey now. Like, you're going in, you're coming back out. Like, what are we doing here? She's storming off, and she's also talking shit saying, oh, you know, I need to leave because I'm going to kill one of these bitches. And I'm like, no, you are not. You are not going to put a hand on anybody in this group, Strawberry. I mean, I don't think so. And even if you did attempt to take on Ayan or Lisa, I'm pretty sure that they're going to jump you. You know, they are best friends. They are not going to let one or the other get their ass whooped by you. Not that you could do it, but still, they're not going to allow that. So, okay, I would like to see that. I would like to see you even attempt that. So then eventually, she comes back for the 100th time. Lisa, she's over it. I think Lisa, she had walked away because she's just annoyed at the whole situation. She's annoyed that she keeps referring to them as them, and that now the whole situation is blamed on Lisa because Strawberry is like, you're the imposter in this whole situation. You're trying to stir something up between me and Ayan. And I'm like, where? Like, did I miss an episode or did I miss a scene? Like, where did Lisa involve herself in this situation where she was trying to, you know, drift both of you apart? If anything, she was trying to, you know, try to make everything be okay between you and her at least, and try not to make an issue of you being at her fashion show. So I'm not sure why she's being labeled as a pot stirrer all of a sudden. So the issue between Ayan and Strawberry is already kind of like over. So now the issue is between Lisa and Strawberry now. And I'm like, we were just about to get somewhere, but here we are with Strawberry because of you. So then Lisa, she walks away. Ayana's just like, look, Strawberry, I want to have a relationship with you. You know, me and you, I just don't like you singling me out. I don't like feeling like that, you know, and it's not about your party. It's just, I don't like feeling left out. And just like I told Ayan at the very first review of this whole season, you're going to have to get used to not being invited to certain things because you're probably not going to always be on good terms with everybody. And people might single you out and they might not invite you to things or to certain events. And you're just going to have to have tough skin on this show because that's the way it goes. Not everybody gets invited to everything. So what? You're just going to throw a tantrum every time you're not invited to something? It just can't always be like that, Ayan. It can't always be in your favor. So then Strawberry is just like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, you know, I think it was just a miscommunication. I do like you. I do see a potential friendship with you. Eventually, everybody's just like, just do it. Just make up already. So then eventually they hug it out. And that was that. And they put a little bow on the little friendship that they have now. For now. But now the issue is between Lisa and Strawberry. So, you know, we fixed one friendship, but then we came up with this whole new issue out of nowhere. And then Lisa in her confessional again. I'm like, Lisa, I think I'm going to have to start calling you Kyle Richards #2 because you talk a lot of shit in your confessional. I want to see you do it in person. She's like, you know, I mean, everything could be fine with Ayan and Strawberry now, but that bitch is on my hit list. And that was that. And then everybody went on to, you know, enjoy the 6-figure party. And then Nina was so unbothered. She was nowhere in the scene. She was over there taking a video of the whole thing. You know, she was flaunting on Instagram probably like, oh yeah, all this money in my account. But that was that, everybody. What did everybody think about this episode and this party and the whole Strawberry comment that she made towards them? Do you think that Ayan and her are going to have a lasting friendship, or do you think that they're eventually going to fall out? Let me know what you thought about this whole entire episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.